The year 3000 BCE marks the birth of global connectivity. You live in a world defined by instant shipping and digital markets, yet the foundations of your economy began 5 millennia ago. During the early Bronze Age, human societies transitioned from isolated villages into a cohesive web of exchange. This period established the first international trade network, linking the Nile Valley, Mesopotamia, and the Indus Valley. You must understand that this was not a casual barter system. It was a calculated, high-stakes operation involving thousands of kilometers of travel and complex logistics. The primary driver for this network was the scarcity of raw materials. Southern Mesopotamia possessed fertile soil but lacked timber, stone, and metal. To build cities like Uruk, leaders required resources found far beyond their borders. Copper served as the most critical commodity. It was the oil of the ancient world. You find evidence of this in the archaeological record of the Persian Gulf. Dilmun, located in modern Bahrain, functioned as a central warehouse. Data from excavations shows that by 2800 BCE, Dilmun managed massive quantities of copper arriving from the Magan Peninsula. This trade supported a population of tens of thousands in Sumerian city-states. The scale of transportation technologies will surprise you. Traders utilized the invention of the wheel and the domestication of the donkey to move bulk goods over land. Caravans traversed the Iranian plateau to bring lapis lazuli from the Sari-Sang mines in modern Afghanistan. This deep blue stone appears in the royal tombs of Ur and the jewelry of Egyptian pharaohs. The presence of these stones proves a supply chain spanning over 2,400 kilometers. Each segment of the journey required protection, food supplies, and local guides. You are looking at the first professional class of international merchants and logistics experts. Maritime routes provided the efficiency needed for heavy cargo. Shipbuilders in the Indus Valley utilized teak wood and bitumen to create vessels capable of crossing the Arabian Sea. These sailors tracked seasonal monsoon winds to navigate between the port of Lothal and the Euphrates River mouth. Inscribed clay seals found in Mesopotamian ruins confirm the presence of Harappan traders. These seals acted as modern barcodes. They identified the owner, the contents, and the origin of the shipment. Administrative records from this era list imports of ivory, gold, and carnelian beads. This data confirms that luxury goods moved alongside essential metals. Economic specialization became the standard. Communities stopped trying to produce everything locally. Instead, they focused on what they did best. Egypt exported surplus grain and gold. Mesopotamia produced textiles and leather goods. The Indus Valley specialized in precision jewelry and standardized weights. This interdependence created a fragile but powerful system. If a war broke out in the Zagros Mountains, the supply of tin to Egypt stopped. This forced ancient leaders to engage in the first forms of international diplomacy to protect their commercial interests. The standardization of measurements ensured fairness in these transactions. Archaeologists have recovered sets of chert weights from the Indus Valley that follow a strict binary and decimal system. These weights appear in trade outposts thousands of miles apart. This uniformity allowed a merchant from a different culture to trust the value of the goods he received. You see the early implementation of a global gold standard through the use of silver rings and coils as a proto-currency. Wealth was no longer just land or grain. Wealth became portable and liquid. Social structures shifted to accommodate this new reality. The demand for trade goods fueled the growth of specialized artisan classes. It also led to the rise of a merchant elite who held significant political influence. These individuals funded expeditions and managed the risks of long-distance travel. They developed the first contracts and credit systems. If a shipment was lost at sea, the financial impact reverberated through entire city budgets. This mirrors the financial volatility you see in modern markets. You should recognize that this 3000 BCE network laid the blueprint for the modern world. It proved that human progress accelerates when different cultures exchange ideas and resources. The technology of writing itself evolved partly to track these inventories and debts. The first international trade network was not a primitive experiment. It was a sophisticated, data-driven system that successfully integrated 3 continents. You hear about ancient civilizations, yet few grasp the trade network from 3000 BCE that linked distant regions. This network connected Mesopotamia in modern Iraq with the Indus Valley in present Pakistan and India. Historians date its start to around 3000 BCE, when long-distance exchanges began between these areas. You recognize this as the first international trade system because it spanned over 2,000 kilometers, involving organized shipments of goods across land and sea. Understand the settings. Mesopotamia featured city-states like Uruk, Ur, and Akkad along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. These cities held populations up to 290,000 in urban areas by 2500 BCE. The Indus Valley civilization covered 1.2 million square kilometers, with sites like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa supporting up to 5 million people at its peak. Both regions produced surpluses from agriculture, which allowed specialization in crafts and trade. Trade emerged from needs for resources. Mesopotamia lacked timber, metals, and stones, so residents sought them from afar. The Indus Valley provided ivory, carnelian, and shells. Exchanges started in the Ubaid period, around 6500 BCE, as local barters, but grew to long distance by the Uruk period, around 4000 BCE. By 3000 BCE, this network formalized with regular shipments. From the Indus Valley to Mesopotamia went etched carnelian beads, ivory tusks, shell ornaments from species like Trubinella pyrum, timber, and water buffaloes. Archaeologists found etched carnelian beads in Ur tombs dated 2600 to 2500 BCE. Mesopotamia sent lapis lazuli from Afghanistan as an intermediary to Egypt, along with silver and wool textiles. The Indus received hematite weights and cylinder seal motifs. Lapis lazuli trade through Mesopotamia dates to 3200 BCE. Maritime paths dominated because sea levels stood lower in the 3rd millennium BCE, shortening distances to about 1,000 kilometers between coasts. Ships sailed the Persian Gulf, stopping at Dilmun in modern Bahrain and Magan in Oman. Overland trails crossed the Iranian plateau. Indus ports like Lothal featured docks 214 meters long, handling vessels up to 20 meters. Mesopotamian quays in Akkad received ships from Meluhha, as inscribed by Sargon around 2300 BCE. Merchants used barter, with silver and grain as exchange mediums. No coins existed. Ships had sails, oars, and keels, navigated with direction-finding birds. Camels joined later, around 1000 BCE for caravans. In Ur, the 3rd period, around 2112 BCE, rulers standardized weights and built roadside inns. Trade involved risks from robbers, so guards accompanied groups. Cylinder seals from the Indus appear in Ur, Kish, and Babylon. One Akkadian seal from 2217 to 2193 BCE shows a water buffalo from the Indus. About 20 seals link Akkadian and Ur III sites to Harappa. Shell objects from Indus coasts date to 2500 to 2000 BCE in Mesopotamian sites. Genetic data from Turka skeletons in Syria dated 2650 to 1900 BCE, reveal Indian haplogroups M4b1, M49, and M61, absent in modern Syria, but present in India and Pakistan. Trade brought wealth to cities. Exported textiles woven by thousands of workers, gaining metals and stones. Indus ports like Lothal warehoused rice, cotton, and wheat for export, importing raw materials for beads and copperwork. Gilgamesh scenes with men fighting lions appear on Indus seals. Cylinder seals in Indus sites show Mesopotamian centaurs and processions. Trade spurred cuneiform writing around 3500 BCE for records. The wheel developed for transport, aiding trade. Exchanges peaked in the mature Harappan phase from 2600 to 2000 BCE. Akkadian Empire under Sargon boosted it around 2334 BCE. After 2000 BCE, Indus decline around 1900 BCE ended direct ties, though intermediaries like Dilmun continued.